ESPN, as they do every year, put out the blasphemy of the list that they put out again, ranking the top. I just don't understand. Like, who are these individuals? I know they're analysts and journalists, but they should not be ranking players in the NBA based on the last couple of years. But let's focus square in on that top 10. And that's kind of narrow that down. So I believe at 10 they have Anthony Davis, correct?
Yep.
And then they have um LeBron James
LeBron.
at 9. They have Shea at 8. They have Kevin Durant at 7, Tatum at 6. We're going into the top 5 now. They have Curry at 5. They have Luca at 4. They have Embiid at 3. They have Jokic at 2. They have Giannis rounding out to be the best player in the NBA for this upcoming season. Let's start with you, Tunde. Your biggest takeaway, your biggest pro con to this list.
I love Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Huge fan of his game. Um, he's not the eighth best player in the NBA though. That's where I'd start. He's not the eighth best player in the NBA, and I don't think I'm taking him over LeBron. I'm not taking him over LeBron.
Is he
Uh,
top 10 though?
I would lean towards no.
Okay.
Nothing against him. I would lean towards no. Um, I mean, I think I'd like to see maybe a little bit more in the way of you know, of 3-point shooting, maybe on a little higher volume. I also think it's just a little I also think it's a little early to give him that, kind of delineation, because we don't really know how this translates in the playoffs, to playoff basketball, as him being a primary scorer, because we've never really seen it. And so I don't know that it's fair to say that he's better than somebody like Devin Booker, or Jimmy Butler or Damian Lillard. And I don't think I have any of those guys as top 10 guys either, but I don't think Shea's better than them. Um, that's a big takeaway. Also, Steph Curry isn't 5. That's just wrong.
That's blast.
Yeah, so I could keep going. I will not take all the time here, though. Chaz, please come rescue me.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was the first guy that we all saw on that list and was kind of looked a little crazy at it. He's a guy that all last season I was saying he should be that first team All NBA guard. And he's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. I think he's one of the best guards at getting to the rim. His herky jerky motion is really lethal in the paint. I think he's going to be one of the best guards for years to come. I don't think right now at this point he's better than Devin Booker or Jimmy Butler. I think you can maybe make the argument that he is better than Damian Lillard. I'd probably still lean Lillard at this point, but I would have Devin Booker in my top 10.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much wrong with this list. It just is so much. First of all, LeBron's not the ninth best player in the league. Uh,
Where
and,
should he
and,
be?
and the fact that you have Shea and ahead of him is an insult to all lists.
Is
LeBron is
he
still a top. It's an insult to all lists that ESPN has ever created. LeBron is still a top 7, 6 player in the NBA at age 35. Like it's insane to think, but that is the case. It's the fact that Steph Curry is number 5 for me, and I'm not understanding how Luca nor Embiid is ranked ahead of him. Um, Over the last 2 years, unequivocally, the three best players in basketball has been Jokic, Steph, Giannis, in whatever particular order you want to put it in. So I don't know how he is ranked 5. I don't know how Luca is all of a sudden ahead of him. My Giannis is not the best player in the NBA. Like I don't. That's to me. That's It's nothing wrong with Giannis being number 1, but Jokic is by far the best player in the NBA, and I
Wait,
don't know
but
how
Nikola Jokic isn't the number one option?
we're not going to that. Stop it, because I already said what I said on Jokic, and I already said what I said again on Jokic. He is the number one player in the NBA. He's by far the best player. I don't know how you got Giannis at number one. Can somebody tell me how Giannis is the best player in the league?
I
I'm
mean,
not even just focusing on what happened in the playoff with him. I'm focusing on what Jokic did in the playoffs. So how
yeah.
I'm not understanding.
Yeah, I think when we had a conversation a few months ago, I had Jokic, Curry, and Giannis in that order. But a year ago, we were saying Giannis was the best player in the league. So I don't think it's a far cry that he would be put at number one. And if he came out this year and was the best player in the world, would you guys be surprised?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't. I mean,
I think Jokic is the best player in the NBA. So if he's not, if all of a sudden, if you're telling me that Jokic declines, goes down, and Giannis is playing at this top level, then yeah. But if you're telling me they're playing neck and neck, Jokic is number one. If you're telling me they're playing at their apex, I believe Jokic is the better player. And,
Well,
and
I
it's
still
not
think they
nothing
both.
against.
I think there's still room for improvement for both players. So I mean, if we have a conversation in 6 months and Giannis, we were saying Giannis is one and Jokic is slightly behind him at number
But I
two.
don't even think Giannis is two. I think Steph is two.
Yeah, but you just said those are the top three in any order.
I get no, I know, I get that. So I'm not going to argue with you about the order that you have. I
No, I think we have the
If
same
you have
order.
Giannis one, I'm not going to argue that he's number one. I'm saying for me, I'm saying for
Yeah,
me, if you're asking Danny, Jokic is one in
yeah,
my
me too.
opinion.
Yeah.
Steph is two, and I have Giannis at three. I don't know where Giannis past both of them. Like again, and when he won a title, we all said consistency was the best player. But I'm talking about now. He's
Yeah.
2 years removed from a championship. So what has he done in the last 2 years to all of a sudden say that he's still better than Jokic and Steph? It's about what have you done for me lately, not what we're projecting for you to do
Well, I
this
mean,
season.
I think the rankings is the
A
projected
projection
rankings
of what you're
for
going to do this year.
2023-24 season. So I think
But
that's
how
what
can
we're
you?
saying.
But again, but then how can you then say that Giannis is number one and Jokic is two?
I'm
Jokic just
right there
came off
with
the
you.
title.
I'm
He
right
just
there
won a
with you. I
chip.
have I have Jokic one. I think he's the best player in the league. I think Steph and Giannis are right there behind him. So if either of those guys or another player were to surpass them and become number one, I mean, over the last few years, I feel like we've kind of had that number one spot juggle around. Giannis had it for a moment. Now Jokic is the guy. But if we have this conversation a year from now, I'm not going to be surprised if it's somebody else or if it's back to
Yeah.
Giannis or whatever the case may be.
Well, no, I'm going to be surprised if it's any one of those three. Like if it's not one of those three, I'll be surprised.
the issue with lists like this and player rankings in general, like this list is meant to drive clicks. Hot takes drive clicks. Real, genuine, nuanced analysis where you pour through film and footage um, is not what they're interested in, and is not what ESPN is trying to achieve with this. And then the issue with player rankings and why people, will tend to argue with me. I don't think player rankings should be reactionary. I don't think that Giannis is a worse basketball player because he
Right.
he won a championship in 20 is a worse basketball player because they lost in the first round last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I don't think Nikola Jokic is a better basketball player than I thought he was before they won the title this past season. I felt the way I felt about Nikola Jokic, years ago because
Yeah.
that's what the film shows. So, at the end of the day, these like every year this ESPN list is going to be crazy.
Yeah. I just want to know the date and time and city when Jason Tatum became a better player than Kevin Durant. If you could give me the date, the time, and the city that all of a sudden Jason Tatum is now a better player than Kevin fucking Durant, I'll shut the fuck up.
Oh,
Because
that one I'm fine with, actually.
I think I am too. Yeah,
what
I think
win?
it happened in like April of 2022, right?
Stop it. He did not. Stop.
Hey,
Stop.
and you guys know how much I love Kevin Durant, but Jason
Yeah.
Tatum is an MVP contender year in and year out.
Jason Tatum is not better than Kevin Durant.
All right, well let's do this real quick.
Kevin Durant on 1 foot is still better than Jason Tatum.
Let's
That's
let's run let's
that's
run
One
through this.
Achilles.
Let's
One
run through this.
Achilles.
Let's run through this like top 10, top 15 real quick. I'll just say where the ranking is. You guys say if it's high, if they need to be higher, lower, or if it's the right spot.
Sure.
Okay.
So we already went through Giannis at 1. Danny, we know what you're going to say. Tunde, you would have him lower?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Giannis and Jokic are kind of a 1A, 1B situation to me. I'm not going to really argue about either one being in either
Okay.
spot.
And that's obviously who they have at number 2 is Nikola Jokic. Number 3, you guys have both said that Joel Embiid is not a top 5 player. They have him at number 3. What do you guys think of that ranking?
Yeah, I'd have him lower.
He's not top 5. He's not top 5. He's lower.
He's probably somewhere between 6 and 10.
That's where I'd put him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 4, they have Luka Doncic.
He's not top 5.
Personally, would also put him lower. Obviously, you guys know how much I love him as a player. I do think it's fair, that we ask some questions about him being willing to play off the ball a little bit more and him being willing to, be more engaged defensively and him being willing to be in better shape. So I'd have him outside the top 5. He's not better than Steph, and Steph should be higher. I know that's probably where we're going next, but
He should be higher.
Well, you guys all have, or we all have Giannis, Jokic, and Steph top 3.
In some order, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In some order. Who's 4 and 5 then if Doncic and Embiid aren't there?
yeah, that's a great question. I mean, personally,
Yeah.
personally for me, I think. Ooh, this is really hard. I think I'm probably putting Jason Tatum at 4. And I think I'm probably putting LeBron at 5. A healthy LeBron at number 5.
I'm going to go Durant at 4. I'm going to go LeBron at 5.
Okay. All right. So then they have, like I said, Doncic at 4, Curry at 5. We all agree he should be a couple spots higher. Jason Tatum 6. Tuna, you just said he's top 4. I would have him either 4 or 5. Danny, do you think 6 is right, or would you have him a couple spots lower?
I think it's fine because I have Durant ahead of him.
So you
And
would
I think
have
Durant is
6.
better than him, so I think it's fine where he is.
Okay. Then Kevin Durant at number 7. Danny, you already said he's top 5. Tune, would you have him at that 6th spot, or do you think 7 is about right?
For KD?
Yeah.
Do I have him at 6 or 7? I probably
have him
got
above Doncic and Embiid is the question.
So that's the thing I was about to get into.
Yeah.
I probably at this point in his career, I'm probably putting Joel Embiid. No, I'm putting Luka at 6, and I'm putting Luka at 6, and I'm putting KD at 7, and then
Embiid
Embiid
at 8.
probably go 8 for me. Not a ton separating them. I think Luka is solidly 6. I think Embiid and KD could be in either order, and I wouldn't argue with it too much. I think for me, it does matter what they've accomplished in the postseason, and not even just over the course of their careers, because player rankings shouldn't be legacy awards. But I mean, we're still seeing Kevin Durant play at such a high level in the playoffs as a scorer, even as a playmaker, even offering some defensive versatility. And we just haven't seen Joel Embiid do any of that. We haven't seen Joel Embiid operate, at his standard level in the playoffs, let alone, I think the jump that most people want to see a star make in the playoffs. We just haven't seen that from him. That puts him at 8 for me.
Yeah, I think I would have KD sandwiched right in between Luka and Embiid as well. So they have Shea at 8. We already mentioned that he should probably be between 10 and 15, or more likely 11 and 15, I would think.
Not me.
So you think he's right around 8?
I'm fine with Shea being in the top 10.
You think he's a better player than Devin Booker, Jimmy Butler, Damian Lillard?
I think Butler should be top 10.
Who?
I think Butler should be top 10.
So you're more likely
I don't think Booker's top 10.
So you're more likely to take out a guy like AD than Shea to get Jimmy in there?
No, I will have AD in the top 10 too.
I think you got like 11 players in the top 10.
Yeah, that's a lot.
No. So what I'm taking Well,
You gotta
continue the
take
list,
somebody
and
out.
yeah, continue the list, and I can tell you.
Well,
So
it's just
where are we at
LeBron
now?
at 9 and then AD at 10. So it would have to be AD or Shea, I think, if you want Jimmy in there. And I'm not mad at it. I mean, I think some people would say that Jimmy was a better player than AD.
I will.
I
mean,
think I'm
I
taking
think.
AD out of the top 10 slightly.
I think AD is top 10. Would personally put him at 9. And you know, I would personally put him at 9. I will offer. Some people will call this a hot take. Don't really care. I think by the end of the year we'll be. I think by the end of the year we'll be putting Anthony Edwards in these discussions as far as being a top 10 NBA player.
Yeah,
It's
he's a
not
player I was
far-fetched.
just about to get to. I think they have him at 13. Danny, what are your thoughts on that? I think that's a pretty good ranking, but he's a guy that I
That's
think is
not
going to
far-fetched. I think he's right there.
Yeah.
I think he cups top 10. So I do think there needs to be a little more before he can get in that top 10. But I'm not mad at 13. I and for go back to Shea, I think the reason why Shea is so high on a lot of people's list is that we have this spirit of moment type thing where we saw what he did last year, and individuals they're not saying, well, can he do it again? And again, it's projection, in which I don't really like, but this is projecting that he will be a top 8 player in the league. That's basically what they're saying. Is that when the season ends, that Shea will be a top 8 player in the NBA at the conclusion of the year, and so it's not far fetched. I think a lot of people think it's premature because of like, okay, we're seeing it right now in this moment. It seems like, oh, he's not better than this person and this person, but I think at the end of the season, just like we're talking about with Edwards, at the end of the season, we could be like, okay, Edwards is top 10. We in the same token, we could be like, okay, Shea is top 8. You know,
Yeah, I don't think it's that far-fetched either. I would just probably have him more like 12 right now. But if he has another year where he's first team All NBA and let's say the Thunder make the playoffs instead of, just going to the play-in, then I think he has an argument to be in that 8 to 10 range. So, I don't think it's far-fetched either.
yeah, absolutely.
Was Shea 7 spots better than Donovan Mitchell or 15 spots better than De'Aaron Fox last year?
No.
No,
No.
but I think that's again going to the ranking itself because I do think I do think it gets for some reason it gets for a situation where we're looking at Donovan Mitchell and like, okay, he didn't perform well in the playoffs in some people's eyes. So it's like maybe we can knock him a couple spots back. It goes to the same thing with Ja Morant. The main reason that people could look at him and say, well, he went from 8 to 35 is because of what happened in during the season and the off season where he's missing 25 games. But we're looking at it from if we're looking at it from that hindsight, you were like, there's no way. But from their eyes, it's like it's about storylines. It's about the story coming into the season with Ja and how he's done this and this and this. Now we feel comfortable ranking him in top 30 because now we're going to get clicks and likes. It's all about parody. It's all about a story. People are going to talk that Ja's not the 35th best player in the league. And then they will be like, well, how is he 8 and now he's 35? It's all about a storyline, really. And so they know what they're doing. It's just the people that know basketball be like, man, this list is bullshit. Because I can go down all the way the top 50. I could even go farther and just nitpick the fuck out of the list. And just be like, okay, this doesn't even make sense. This person clearly is better than this person. I could just go down the list. And so when you have people that are really not really focused on that, they're not focused on who's better. They're focused on where I can get the story at. And so I'm not mad at it. It just doesn't make sense. And why would you keep embarrassing your company year in year out over these damn lists? Is it belongs to me because that's what you're doing.
I mean,
You're embarrassing the fuck
Tunde
out
said
of
it
your
earlier.
league.
They're just trying to get clicks and they're trying to get people to talk about it, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Absolutely. Anything else on the top 10, gentlemen?
No, I will just say just to clear it up, they have Devin Booker 11, followed by Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, Damian Lillard, and then Donovan Mitchell to round out the top 15. So there are a couple of things that I don't agree with them, but I think for the most part, the top 15 is pretty accurate.